Hello everyone, my name is Piedahita and I'm going to talk to you about Machu Picchu. First, I'm going to start with a brief explanation of the geographic location of this place. After this, I'm going to talk about its history, its layout, the archaeological treasures that can be found at Machu Picchu, and I'm going to finish with the architecture since it's very important for the purpose of this project. So let's start with Machu Picchu's geographic information. Machu Picchu is located in Peru, about 13 degrees south of the equator. It is 80 kilometers northwest of Cusco, on the crest of the mountain Machu Picchu, which is located about 2,430 meters above sea level in the middle of tropical mountain forest. Machu Picchu is situated above of the Urubamba River, which surrounds the site on three sides, where cliffs drop vertically for more than 450 meters to the river at their base. Because of this, they choose this location as a military secret, where its steep precipice and steep mountains provided natural defense. The city sits in a saddle between the two mountains, Machu Picchu and Hayawana Picchu. It has water supplies from springs that cannot be blocked easily and enough land to grow food for about 4 times as many people as ever lived there. The hillside leading to it were terraced to provide more farmland to grow crops and to steepen the slopes that invaders would have to ascend. Machu Picchu was built around 1450, and its construction appears to date to the period of the great two Inca rulers, Paca- Pachacutec Inca Yupanqui and Tupac Inca Yupanqui. It was abandoned just over 100 years later, in 1572, as a belated result of the Spanish conquest in 1492. Although the death of the inhabitants is not known, it is possible it was from smallpox introduced by travelers before the Spanish conquistadors arrived. Although the Spanish had noted a place called Picchu, they were not able to find Machu Picchu, and so did not plunder or destroy it as they did many other cities. Over the centuries, the surrounding jungles overgrew the site, and few outside the immediate area knew about its existence. The site have been discovered and plundered in 1867 by a German businessman, Augusto Burns, although some evidence indicates that German engineer J.M. von Hassel arrived earlier. Later, in 1874, Machu Picchu was already appearing in the maps. After that, in 1911, American historian and explorer Hiram Bingham traveled the region looking for the old Inca capital Pitcos and was shown to Machu Picchu by a local farmer. Bingham brought Machu Picchu to international attention and organized another expedition in 1912 to undertake major clearing and excavation. He returned in 1914 and 1915 to continue with excavations. In 1981, Peru declared an area of more than 300 kilometers square surrounding Machu Picchu, a historical sanctuary. Later, in 1983, UNESCO designated Machu Picchu a World Heritage Site, describing it as an absolute masterpiece of architecture and a unique testimony of Incan civilization. In 2007, Machu Picchu was voted one of the new 7 wonders of the world in a worldwide internet poll. Now it is one of the most important archaeological sites in South America, one of the most visited tourist attractions in Latin America, and the most visited in Peru. The Machu Picchu is roughly divided into an urban sector and an agricultural sector, and into an upper town and lower town. The temples are found in the upper town and the warehouses in the lower town. The architecture is adapted to the mountains, and you can find approximately 200 buildings that are arranged in white panel terraces around an east and west central square. These compounds are called canchas and are long and narrow in order to exploit that terrain. You can also find stone stairways set in the walls, allowing access to the different levels across the site. There's a very important location zone that is a royalty area, where you can find the residences of the Amautas, which are the vice presidents, and the Ñustas, that are the princesses. Also, the eastern section of the city was probably residential, where the lower class people would live. It includes the storage buildings and simple houses. On the other side, on the western part, it was the religious and ceremonial. It was where you can find the religious and ceremonial purposes. So in this section, you can find most of the archaeological treasures that I would discuss shortly. The primary archaeological treasures are the Intihuatana, Inti Machai, the Temple of the Sun, and the Temple of the Three Windows, which were all dedicated to Inti, that's their sun god and greatest deity. The Intihuatana, it is a stone that is um, that is purpose is for rituals stones in Machu Picchu. These stones are arranged to point directly at the sun during the winter solstice. The name of the stone means um, to tie up the sun, which comes from the Indi that means the sun, Wata to comes to tie, and Na that comes from a tool. So it's basically a tool that helps you tie up the sun. So this is why they believe that they held the sun in a place along its annual path in the sky. There are four important dates related to this stone. One is November 11, January 30, where the sun stands exactly above the pillar, casting no shadow at all. Also, in June 21 and December 21, it is the 2 days with the longest shadows. One day found in the southern side, and the other found in the northern side. Inti Machai, it's a cave found on the eastern side of Machu Picchu, where it's used to observe the royal feast of the sun. This festival is celebrated during the Incan month of Capac Raimi, where it is concluded on the December solstice. On this day, noble boys are initiated into manhood by an ear-piercing ritual as they stood inside the cave and watched the sun rise. Architecturally, Inti Machai is the most significant structure of Machu Picchu because of its entrance, walls, steps, and windows that are very different from the Incan Empire. It also includes a tunnel-like window, which is very important because it only allows sunlight into the cave during several days around the December solstice. For this reason, the cave was inaccessible for much of the year. Also, the Temple of the Sun, that it can be known as the Terreon, it's a semicircular construction built over a strong rock adapted to the natural environment. There is a tower with a trapezoidal window built over a rock of pure granite, where the sun of the winter solstice enters and falls directly to the ceremonial stone. During the summer solstice, the sun's rays flew through the window and illuminated the tower, which is really attractive for the tourists since they are not allowed to go into the temple. This tradition comes from way behind, where common people were not able to watch the rituals dedicated to the sun because only the priest and the Inca could enter the temple of the sun. It is also a sacrifice center as well as the altar of the condor, where the priests killed animals, and by doing this, they believed they could see the future and prevent any kind of disaster. The temple's location is very important since it has to be very high for the priest to be closer to the sky so that they could perform its rituals and ceremonies better. One of the most important ceremonies they had were like to tell when people should harvest and how to harvest since they were closer to the sun and the stars. Finally, the Temple of the Three Windows is located in the royal sector where Pachacutec and other members of the nobility may have stayed. The construction of the temple is particularly long and wide, which is very different from what is seen, and it's the only one that has like three trapezoidal windows that are aligned perfectly. These windows are aligned so that to let the June solstice sunrise come right in a perfect angle. So as you can see, all of their architecture or like main important monuments were designated for the sun and how it would shine. There are many theories of the importance of the purpose, like what it symbolizes, but the two most important are that it symbolizes the place where the Incas originated, or it represents each part of the world, the underground, the heaven, and the actual time. Although there are many theories, there is no evidence of what it really represented. Finally, I'm going to talk about the architecture. So their style is called the ashlar, and they use like polished dry stone walls of regular shape. And what they do is the blocks of stone are cut to fit together tightly without mortar. And it's important to understand that since Machu Picchu is located in a mountain, this provided many challenges. One of them is the seismic activity that made mortar and similar building methods nearly useless. So they had to find a way to lined up the stones up and shape them to fit together perfectly, stabilizing the structure. Some of the things they do to maintain this stability was the trapezoidal windows and doors, and also like the L-shaped blocks to maintain stability. Another very important challenge that they had were the heavy rainfalls that required the terraces and stone chips to drain water and prevent mudslides, landslides, erosion, and flooding. For this, they used stone chips, sand, dirt, and topsoil to absorb water.